Hello friends, welcome back for another math lesson. I know yesterday you had a lesson with Mrs. Mickelay on time to the half hour, and today we're going to extend and practice that lesson a little more. But let's begin with a warm-up, just like we do every day in math. So if you don't already have your paper and a pencil, now's a good time to go get one. I'll keep talking while you do it this time so that you don't have to pause me. But I know we've been doing enough of lessons now that many of you are already coming prepared to your lessons and you're bringing the materials that you need. So when we get together for math, it's always a good idea before you start the lesson that you come prepared with your paper and your pencil and your toolkit. If you're coming for a writer's workshop lesson, that you bring your pen and your writing packet. If you're coming for a read aloud, you're coming to listen to the story and have mom or dad print out any worksheets that you might need. If you can't print them, then just bring your paper and your pencil along so that you can follow along with the activities that we have with each of our lessons. So now that you have your paper and your pencil, I would like for you to begin by dividing your slate into 3 equal parts vertically. So let's do that. 3 equal parts vertically. And in box number 1, I'm going to start a number pattern, and I want you to fill in the numbers that I leave out, all right? I'll start. All right, so can you see that okay? I wonder if I can turn my board a little better that you can see it. It says 6 and 9, and then there's a spot, right? Okay, and if you'd like a bonus, down here at the bottom in this box, show me, if you were doing multiplication, what times table this represents. For anybody who'd like a bonus on that one, what times table does this represent? In box number 2, I'm going to draw a clock, and you don't need to draw the clock. You just need to look and see what time do I put on my clock. I want you to show me the digital time on this line right here. Show me the digital time for my clock that I post. So, wow, this is a little clock. So I'm having to write my numbers pretty small. So, what time is this? Oh, I put 2 6s. That's not a good idea. Okay. There, let me fix that. Okay. So what time is it? Show me the digital time. All right. In the third box, I'm going to give you a story, and I want you to show me just the answer right here. Digital time as well. This morning we had morning meeting, and it was at 8:30. And it was so nice to see all of you there at morning meeting. And our meeting lasted about a half an hour. So if our meeting started at 8:30 or 8:30, and it lasted for half an hour, what time did our meeting end? Put your answer right there in that third box. And while you're doing that, I'm going to switch my marker color so that we can put the answers in and we can check our answers, okay? So we're back to box number 1, 6, 9. What number comes next? Thank you. And then 15, 21, and, right? So if you did the bonus, what times table would that represent? Right, the three table, right? It would be 3 times. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, right? All right, in box number 2, what is the digital time? And I know that some of you may have written, maybe you wrote with words 8 o'clock, right? Maybe some of you wrote that, but that's not the digital time. Remember, there are something I'm really looking for in digital time that shows me that we're measuring time. What is that tool? Called the colon, right? The colon is the tool that we use when we write digital time that lets us know that we're measuring time. So how many minutes are passed on our clock when I see the minute hand? 12 minutes passed? No, when the minute hand is pointed at the 12, that means there are no minutes, right? It's perfectly at o'clock. And I see that our hand is pointed at the 8, right? So it's 8 o'clock, right? That goes on the left side of the colon, the hours, and the minutes go on the right side of the colon. All right, so now I'm at my last box, and I gave a story where I said that our morning meeting started at 8:30, 8:30, means the same thing, right? 8:30, 8:30. And if it lasted for half an hour, how long is a half an hour? 30 minutes, correct. So if it lasted for half an hour, what time did the meeting end? And so in order to show that answer, I put a clock on the other side, right, of my slate. And I can show it on my clock with my hands, right? That I know that if it's half past, my minute hand now needs to go on the 6, because that means also 8:30, and that the numbers that go around our clock count by 5s, right? So if I start here, it's o'clock, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, right? 8:30. But the important part of this picture is looking at our hour hand, right? Because our hour hand now should not be on the 8. It's only on the 8 for o'clock. But what happens to that hour hand when it goes the minute hand goes halfway around? You're right, it goes halfway between the 8 and the 9, correct? So when I go to write the digital time for this time, I have to remember that I need the colon again, that measures time. And on the left side of the colon goes the hour. And we said that it was, 8:30 is when our meeting started, right? 8:30 is when our meeting started. So if I said that it took half an hour for our meeting to end, half an hour is another 30, right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So now my minute hand has to go up to the 12, right? My minute hand. And what's going to happen to my hour hand? It moves as well, right? And so now it's going to point at the 9, right? So now my time would be 9 o'clock is when my meeting ended, 9 o'clock. So thank you for that warm-up. That was a great warm-up, and just a kind of a reminder of the lesson that Mrs. Michelay did with us yesterday, and we're going to continue to practice today. So you will see attached to this video some clock cards, and you can play a clock memory game where you can turn over the clock's faces and read the time and then match it to its digital time. That's an activity that you can do at the end of our lesson. Our workbook page also has you checking to see matching the digital time with the analog time. And I want to ask you, though, a question about when you see this. Draw my clock again. I know it takes a minute for me to do this, but and on your clock that you have, you can practice this. So if I see this, and then I see this, what's the difference between those two? What's the difference between this and this? Correct, one is analog time and one is digital time. Which time is shorter? Neither one, right? They're both the exact same time, whether you see it on an analog clock or you see it on a digital clock. They're both the same time, right? They just look different. And so, but it's the same time. And the digital clock uses numbers and the analog clock uses minute and hour hands that go around and show us. And sometimes though, it's really important because I think when we see digital time, we can see the time a little better than we can when we have when we're drawing our clock. And I know your clock does not do this, my clock does, but when I show that it is, let's say 3 o'clock, right? Watch carefully to my hour hand as my clock minute hand goes around, right? Tick tock, here goes my minute hand. And as I get to 3:30 or 3:30, do you notice how my hour hand is now between my 3 and my 4? It moves as well, but at a much slower rate than my minute hand. So really important that when you show on your clock, your small little white clock, your demonstration clock, that you're moving both hands, right? Really important when you see that. So our book does a really good job though of showing it how it should be. And as a reminder, how would I write this time digitally? How could I write that time? Remember, I need my colon, right? I need the colon, and I need to show that I'm measuring time, right? And I know that 30 is the minutes past. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 30 minutes are past, and it is between the 3 and the 4. It's not quite 4 o'clock yet. It's after 3, right? So 3 is my hour, and minutes past 3 are 30. So continue to practice that today with your workbook and with the matching cards that are attached to our lesson, and we'll see you again tomorrow for another math lesson.